when I heard that song, I'm thinking Big Show. I go, was that ever Matt Holliday's nickname? And I think this was covered on a different show back in the day. But as you know, Matt, I love Baseball Reference. They say your nickname is Big Daddy. Oh. And I don't remember anybody calling you that.
Yeah, there was one person. I think Clint Hurdle called me that. I think he might have got into Wikipedia and put that down. I don't know. Like you said, if you have a nickname, more than like two, I think have to call you that, or else it's just kind of one person's. I don't know. I'm not a big nickname guy. I didn't have a lot of that. But yeah, I didn't love that one, and I don't know of anybody that calls me that. So occasionally I run into Clint Hurdle out and about, and he calls me that, which I'm okay with because that was our little relationship. But yeah, so you guys definitely shouldn't call me that, or this will be the last time I come on.
But I will say it shows Charlie's commitment to vetting and verifying things, that he went to your career stats before you came on just to make sure that everything was in order. It's not a shot at it.
Hitter.
See?
That was gutless.
That's where you're going with that.
Was gutless.
And then Matt remembered that.
No, I'm just saying I think it's good that you do that.
No, here's what happened, Matt. As Seth, our board op, and he just made a mistake. It happens. When he played Big Show, I was like, is that Matt's nickname? And then I went to his page, but it was Big Daddy. I had remembered that, and I think I heard it once, but I had never heard anybody call him that.
And I'm praising you for doing that, vetting and verifying.
No, because Matt just chirped back that I mentioned the .299 batting average once.
Yeah. No, I appreciate the show research and all the details you guys look into for the show. So
another show promo that will never get on the air.
Hey, just because, I know we're going to go a lot of different directions, but because I am on the Baseball Reference page, this is an open-ended question you can take in any direction. Just because I think in a couple years here you will be on the Hall of Fame ballot. How do you feel about the ballot, about who gets in, who doesn't, the voting process? Because that's obviously being talked about a lot these days.
Yeah. I think it needs altered. I would say the thing that really irritates me is the empty ballots. I don't know who turns those in. I don't know how people get their vote, and I'm not sure. So I'm not going to speak to what the process is too much about who's voting and what the criteria to get to vote for the Hall of Fame is. But when you send back an empty ballot, to me, that's an immediate, take it away, give it to somebody who's actually watching the sport. And it's a museum. It's supposed to celebrate baseball and great baseball players. It's not supposed to be, okay, Kurt Schilling was mean to me, or he has political views that I disagree with, I'm not voting for him. So the whole, letting personal stuff get in the way of how they feel about the votes, I can't get on board with that. And I'm not saying I don't know the perfect vote, what they should do or who should vote or players or how do you. I did see somebody tweet the other day or something that if you had 10 years Major League playing service that you get a vote, or those are the people that vote for the Hall of Fame. And so I think people. I don't know. I'm not against writers voting, but I am against writers voting that aren't paying attention, that are trying to make a political statement or turning in empty ballots because they think certain guys cheated. And I'm also against the limit of 10. If you think there's more than 10 guys on the ballot that deserve to be considered for the Hall of Fame, then you should be able to vote for as many as you want to. So. I think there are some things that I disagree with on the Hall of Fame voting, but again, I'm not going to pretend to know all the reasoning and how they go about making those rules.
No one is going to condone cheating, but for the steroid guys, and as time has passed, we realize that there were a lot of guys doing that back then. Would you put the steroid guys in? It is weird when one steroid guy can get in, but the other guys can't. How would you handle that? Would you let them all in, or would you keep them all out if we're up to you?
Well, I think that there's again, it's a museum to recognize great play, and if you feel like in the name of fairness to put an asterisk or put at least a disclaimer that they tested positive for performance enhancing drugs, or if you want to make a special I don't know. I think that, again, if you want to acknowledge that we just can't say, well, this guy didn't publicly test positive, but there's tons of evidence that they did and they get in, but this guy he tested positive or whatever, and so we have concrete proof. I think that's where it kind of gets tricky. So you do have guys in that probably use performance enhancing drugs, and so it's I don't know, Jim. I'm not sure how I feel about it as a guy that played clean and competed against a lot of guys that didn't. So I take a lot of pride in my career and doing it the right way, and all the extra work and time and effort in the weight room that I spent for that part of my baseball career. So I'm not sure. I don't condone it, and I don't like it, but I also think that it's a slippery slope when you're trying to pick guys that we know he did, but we're not quite sure about him. We think he might have, but we'll put him in. So it's really kind of I don't know. It's a tough thing to figure out.
And the last thing about baseball, and then we'll talk in some nonsense, but the work stoppage now, the lockout, we're getting close, to when spring training should be starting. I look at it as this is a different year because of the pandemic, and baseball was just getting a little traction going. I think if they don't, I could see them, missing a couple of weeks of spring training. That wouldn't be a big deal. But if the season gets pushed back and the opening day isn't when, I think baseball has a real problem with that. If that happens, how do you look at it?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's hard to say like how close they are to getting an agreement. I mean, I wish I had a little bit more insight on how far apart they actually are and what we're really looking at. I mean, nobody really knows. I think they've done a good job, or maybe I don't know if that's been their goal, is to keep it pretty quiet on what exactly is going on. I know Jeff Fassen's reported on a lot of the meeting stuff, but I hope it gets done soon. I mean, I really don't think that anybody wants to see any kind of delay or work stoppage. I think the fans are kind of wanting this to, get excited about the rest of the free agents and how their team is gonna get better, and how this, who's going to sign the last good free agents, and so I don't know, Jim. I hate it. I mean, I know it's part of the business and it's a necessary evil, if you will, but hopefully they get it done soon and people can kind of move on back to the fun stuff of off-season baseball and moving into spring training and get excited about their team and get excited about what that looks like, and people can start talking about baseball in a better light soon.
And Matt, I have a kind of baseball question. I'm wondering if you have any good, I'm guessing you do, some good Scott Boras stories from over the years, because Scott Boras, your agent obviously, and he'd always been such an interesting guy, but I feel like in more recent years, and his press conferences are always interesting, but now he has these great taglines for Max Scherzer. You got to max out your deal. I remember a couple years back, he said the Cardinals, the birds on the bat, were birds sitting on a bank. He has all these great lines. And has he always had that wit going back?
Yeah, I think exactly. He wants you talking about it. Mm-hmm. So I think he has this plan. Like, that's one thing. Like, he literally, I think, sleeps like 2 hours a night. He's so baseball all the time that it's he has a plan, and he's really, obviously he's really smart, but he's really funny. He's fun to sit in a room and talk baseball with, and he's actually really a cool guy. I know, some people don't like him or think he's bad for whatever, and but I enjoy my time with Scott. It's one thing with, I'm pretty low maintenance, so we didn't talk every day. I had, some other guys in the Boras Corporation that I still talk to, once a week, and the marketing guy is one of my close friends. And so, but I don't have any unbelievable. I have to sit back and think. I knew a lot of his quirks that I would tease him about. Like, we'd always go to the same restaurant in California when we would play them, and he would always order the same thing. And so I used to tease him about this tuna copia that he would order with. It had all the same stuff, and so I used to tease him about that. But he's great. I really think if you get him in a room, you guys would like him a lot. But so I'm trying to think off the top of my head if I have any quirky stories. I don't. So.
That's a good answer, though.
Don't overthink it.
And if you ever talk to him, he really is a good dude. And every time the Cards are at the Dodgers, I always joke around with him because he's always like during BP, either on the field or right behind. And maybe you can help me with this, Matt. But I've told him, he's a really smart guy who's made a lot of money and made a lot of money for players. But he's left a lot of money on the table by not expanding, probably because he's a little scared, into the market of over-the-hill sideline reporters.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Now, if he could represent a guy like me, there's a lot of money he can make off that. Maybe you can help me get that done.
Yeah, I could talk to him for you.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm sure he could. He's picked up some new potential free agents soon that are pretty good ball players. I'm sure he's looking to add to his stable of horses, if you will. And you might be a little long in the tooth, but I think that you've still got some good days ahead, Jim.
Thank you. And every time I bring that up, he does laugh. He is actually like a really funny guy. When you're at those scrums where he says something funny, it's really just kind of a peek behind the curtain because he is a funny guy, and he should represent me.
He should. You're going to take 10% of that too, right? He's going to take 10%.
We'll figure it out.
I would. If I was him, I would take more than that. But
probably 50%. Matty, did you watch the football games last weekend or yesterday? I believe. Who are you rooting for? Rams, Bengals. I mean, what was your take on that whole thing? Are you a big football fan?
I am a big football fan. We had a scrimmage with our team yesterday, so I didn't catch all of the Chiefs-Bengals game. I watched the ending, the last probably 6 minutes of the game. I watched part of the 49ers and Rams. I know we were all rooting for the 49ers, so that was disheartening. But it was really good games. I love Joe Burrow, and I just like his moxie and his I just think he's funny and cool as far as like just the way he acts, and then the way he's kind of elevated the Bengals and pretty quickly for them to be in a Super Bowl is pretty awesome. So I don't really have a dog in the fight. So I always root for good football, and it was good football. Like I said, on behalf of the city of St. Louis, I rooted against the Rams, but they're pretty good, so it'll be tough to beat. Their defensive line is pretty incredible, so I think the Bengals are going to have their hands full with trying to block those guys. So we'll see. They better get the ball out of Joe Burrow's hands quick because those big boys are coming in hot. So it was fun. The football has been really exciting the last couple weeks. So I'm not kind of against the week off deal before the Super Bowl. I think it loses a little bit of its momentum as far as interest, as far as like a novice fan, which I would probably say at this point I am of NFL. But I kind of wish they were playing the Super Bowl Sunday, and then it wouldn't drag it out so long. But that's just me. So that's how I saw it.
Matt, we criticized Cam last week because when you were on with us, you were in your car, and it sounded like once you got actually going, you were real comfortable, and you wanted to stay on for a long time. I actually feel like we cut it short and that you were into talking to us. I'm wondering, today it sounds like you're not in your car. You probably want the interview to end now?
No, I'm good. Actually, I don't have much going on Monday mornings around this time. That's actually, I don't have much going on, period, when my kids go to school. So I know you guys in the show at 10, so whatever you guys need. I'm just sitting in my chair. I'm drinking some coffee. I'm petting my dog, and talking to you guys.
What you said? You said it was a Pomeranian, right?
What kind of dog?
Is that what you got?
No, Pomeranian. No, my dog is a Bernie Doodle, Bernie's Mountain Dog Poodle mix, and he's about 130 pounds.
Pretty cool.
Those are cool.
Yeah, so he's a good dog.
What's his name?
We have a couple other dogs, but Duke is my dog's name. So
Duke, you got what kind of dog do you got, Charlie? Werewolf.
I have it. See, when you say Doodle, it does sound like a foo-foo dog, but then the dog's name is Duke, and it's 130 pounds. My dog,
well, he's mostly he's more Bernese. We do the Doodle thing because my wife's allergic to shedding dogs, so we have to. All of our dogs are mixed with poodles, but they're not like, they're not like feminine-looking poodle.
See, mine is a cockapoo. And he looks like a cockapoo. He's a 30-pound dog. Now, when I take him for a walk, I don't feel like it's really emasculating, but it's kind of emasculating.
Yeah. You're a big guy, Charlie.
But, hey, the hypoallergenic thing is 100% true. My son is
That's why people
allergic.
go for the doodles.
I'm agreeing.
A lot of them have golden doodles. His is different, though.
Yeah. I see your dog all the time on Twitter, Jim. So
that's a cool. Come on, give me credit. Stella's a cool dog.
Yeah, no, I know, but I just see a lot of her.
Too much? Is it too much?
It feels like it might be a little too much.
All right. See, for Matt Holliday, I want to point out the fact, and I'm going to tweet this in a minute. Matt Holliday, out of love for STL, out of the love for St. Louis, is rooting against the Rams. Like,
he's one of us.
That's unbelievable. I mean,
kind of.
One of who?
No, he's unlike Cam. Unlike Cam, who still roots for the Rams just because he figures there's a revenue stream coming his way by doing it.
My wife
is a sellout and a fraud. Matt Holliday is a great American, and though he doesn't live in the STL anymore, as Charlie put it so well, he's one of us. Thank you, Matt.
Hey, Matt. No, I would call St. Louis kind of the, it would be the next closest, probably the longest place I've ever lived besides Oklahoma. So, I feel like at least a partial St. Louisan. So I can get on board with that. Like I said, I don't appreciate how they left St. Louis.
And do you think there's a decent chance that you would live in St. Louis once again in the future if some type of baseball opportunity presented itself?
Yeah, probably. Probably would be the organization that at some point, if I get back involved in pro baseball, I think Mo and I's relationship, and obviously Ollie and Mr. DeWitt, and I'm still pretty close with everyone up there. So it's hopefully, yeah, someday. I just feel like right now with the age of my kids, I'm I like what I'm doing as far as is what I've got going hours wise, where I can have some flexibility.
As long as you come back for that pool host golf tournament they usually host, I want to get Charlie and Kat into that too, because
I'm there.
I've been there a million times.
No. I want you to play, Charlie.
I'm interviewing George Lopez.
I want you to play, and I want them to film you.
I'm getting the free swag.
T-Box
That's what I'm doing.
That's what I want. When everybody's right there, and you got to tee off right there at one, where everybody's looking at you. I want the cameras on you, Charlie. That's what I want.
Hold on. I remember. I don't know how many years Matt, took over the mantle from Albert, but I remember one specific year where we were talking to Matt, and he kind of said, I'm not that big of a golfer. I remember that.
You just cruise around the golf cart.
I'm getting into it a little bit more just because I have more time, and my boys like to play. So I've played a little bit. I wouldn't call myself a good golfer, but when I do watch those tournaments and they have the gallery kind of lined up right there at the tee box, I think to myself, oh my gosh, those people would probably be in big trouble if I was playing golf.
Dude.
Like, the pressure of that, I would have to be like, if I ever played in one of those celebrity deals, I'd be like, y'all need to all get behind me.
No, you're right on that. I think I did hit somebody because it bounced off the damn concrete and it hit like a tree and it went back and hit like a kid. And I'm like,
I would put people on notice. Like, look, there is no guarantee where this is going.
Yeah, no, it was pretty bad.
Well, I just want to say, Matt, if you do ever come back, there's probably homes for sale in our neighborhood. We can be neighbors once again, which I know would be important.
I don't know if I get too close, you'll make me tear it down.
Whoa!
I don't want to block the sun.
Well played. Well,
a little hurt.
I don't want to block the sun, Jimmy.
It's a little hurtful. Thank you for coming on, Matty.
Matty, you're the best, dude. Go enjoy yourself.
All right, guys.
See you.
Thanks.
Right on, man.
What a way to end it
Matty
right there.
Holliday from the clouds. He got you from the clouds. He is the coolest dude going. Damn cool. Yeah, he just cruises around the golf cart and just says hey to people and stuff like that. But the gallery's there, Charlie. And no, you're golfing in this thing.
Oh, I've been there. There's not galleries there.
100% there is.
At the Pujols event? I've been there 10 times.
There's 50 people watching you right off the tee box. What are you talking about?
Media members.
Yeah, I don't want to watch it. Doesn't matter who.
Galleries of fans.
There's people everywhere.
Bally's has cameras.
We have cameras everywhere. There's people
but
everywhere.
also you're missing the point too. And Charlie, if you ever, and you are you're an operator. Like you always look for angles.
Sure.
If there was a way to get that swag bag, do it. It's 100%. The greatest swag bag in the history of golf.
It's the best of the best.
Did you ever get one?
They've never invited me to play.
I've been there. You don't have to play.
Okay, well, I'll steal one.
I don't play. I cover it.
You cover it, though. No, he's playing. He's playing in this damn thing.
That's
and you're going to
fine.
be in a group with me, and I'm watching every move you make.
One year, it's Holliday and Pujols there together.
Yeah.
That's pretty good star power for that.
And
For
Jen
sure.
Teamer, give her a little shout out. She runs a show over there. Jen Teamer went to school with her husband Jason, and they do a hell of a job. It's one of my favorite tournaments. One of my favorite.
One of my
charities, too.
favorite moments from that tournament was the bus was passed out on the couch, Bettis, and I just thought it was funny, so I went to take a picture, and someone said, "Yeah, you can't do that," and I said, "Oh no, I can, and I'm going to."
There's also
Apparently, there's the night before there.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was that golf.
But there's always interesting random folks there.
Yep.
Mike Trout was there a year or two. I remember we talked with him. Christian Okoye was there, the Nigerian Nightmare.
Yep.
George Lopez the one year, the famous
And
line
you got him?
that I always remember. I interviewed him. I just said, what's it like coming to St. Louis? And he did this kind of physical comedy. He goes, hey, pulled pork and humidity. How can I miss this?
That's funny.
And it was a great
Yeah.
line.
That's funny.
It's true.
And as a media guy,
Shaq, by the way.
awesome.
Shaq, Mo Drummond did a great bit with Shaq about 10, 12 years ago when he was here for that.
As a media guy, when you know you can go to a golf tournament and you kind of know the window of when the celebrities will arrive and you could grab them, that's gold, right?
Totally.
Because you can get big name guys and you don't have to be there all day. You stay maybe to watch them putt.
And
or
they're
something like
drinking.
that.
And they're drinking. So they're having a good time. They're loose.